Hi Year 10, I hope you're all okay. I know you guys have had a busy week because you've been back in school, haven't you, the past couple of weeks, so that's been really nice for you, I bet. I went in, was it last Wednesday? Yes, last Wednesday, and I'm in again this Wednesday. It's odd, isn't it? But it's actually just makes you want to go back now and be with everybody, and I can't wait until that point where we can all be back in the classroom together. But there we go. Hopefully on Wednesday, if you guys are around, I might be able to give you a wave if I see you, but you're all kind of put into your bubbles, aren't you? So it might not be possible, but I will if I can. What we are going to be doing today, we've got 3 more corals to make, and there's a 4th option as well. So I've put it on the PowerPoint where I'm going to show you 3, and then I want you to try as a challenge a 4th style of coral for this week that's up to you, what you do. That's hard because I'm not showing you how to do it. What I have done is put a couple of photographs of Julie Dodd's work on and selected some of the coral that you might attempt to make. You can have a look at other pictures of her work online and try something else. But now you know how I've kind of approached it and how I've looked at her work and then adapted it and made it into coral myself and shown you. I want to see if you can do the same, where you can look closely at what she's made and see how it goes by making it yourself. If it doesn't work out, that's fine. Keep it though, or keep whatever you make or whatever you attempt to make, and we can use it as samples in our sketchbook. So next week is going to be sketchbooks. So we're going to be sampling, so making one of each again, so we can put it in our sketchbook to show that we tested it before we went along. So you could just use one of the ones that you've made already. And then we're going to put those in the sketchbooks and we'll write about them. And then we're also going to do our design work on that page. On that page will also be Julie Dodd's work as well, and a little bit about her and where our inspiration has come from for our artwork. So that's next week. If you don't have your sketchbook at home, which I really hope that you do, if you don't, then you're going to have to get your hands on some paper. Not better paper than A4 paper if possible. If you can get some nice art paper from Hobbycraft or online, that would be so much better. And paper comes in different thicknesses, you probably know that. So try and get a nice cartridge paper, which is better to draw on. If you're unsure what kind of paper and you don't have your sketchbook, you're more than happy to email me and say, should I get this one? And I'll say yes, no, whatever. Okay, so one of the ones that we're going to do is different from ones that we've done already, because it's going to require another element, a little bit like last week's when we made the sea urchins with the plastic lid of the bottle. So if you don't have access to anything that you can use for this, then obviously you're not going to be able to do it, or you could try and get your hands on something to do it with, or you could make 2 of your own of the different style that you've come up with yourself instead if you want to. So I'm going to use a bauble for it. You'll see on the PowerPoint, now I've searched high and low online to see what kind of coral that Julie Dodd's been inspired by for these, but I can't make a link really yet, but I'm still going to try. So on the PowerPoint is Julie Dodd's work, her version of what I'm about to make, and you'll see why a sapphire like this is going to be useful for it. So that's kind of the base of it, and we're going to put paper over the top. This is a bauble for my Christmas tree. I've just taken the bottom off. So if you've got a bauble like that, obviously with no decoration on a flat surface, I'm pretty sure most people have them in the loft left over from Christmas, or a ball or something like this. A bauble would be best, but something like this. Use your imagination if you've not got a bauble. Then what you're going to do is, you'll see on the picture, I keep pointing, my laptop's here, that's why I keep pointing here. You'll see on the picture that basically what she's done is created loads of little petals that kind of build up and are put all over the base, which is the sapphire base. So we're going to make petals that get stuck on. I've used a glue gun on my actual costume for these, but because I'm showing you at home, I'm going to just use normal glue stick. If it doesn't stick as well, then what we can do when we're at school is just put a bit of glue gun within it to make it hold better, but we can give it our best go. So scrunch your paper up first. This is something that you're going to have to do when you're making your own as the fourth piece. Make sure whatever you make sure you scrumple your page first, because we want to keep that texture going. Fold your paper in half and halve your halves like we have done before to try and get it down to smaller bits. I'm doing that. Then so I've got this strip now. I'm gonna halve that. I'm gonna halve it again. So I've got something that looks like this. The only reason why I'm doing this is because I'm gonna draw my petal on, then I'm gonna cut it, and then I'll get loads of petals because I've folded all my paper down. So I'll get numerous pieces rather than just cutting out one at a time, because that will take too long. So draw the shape of your petal out. Obviously, the bigger the petal, the bigger all of them are going to be. If you want small petals, draw a small petal. I'm going to draw two, and we're going to actually do some big ones and some a bit smaller. And actually, they're pretty much the same. But don't be too worried that they're not exactly the same. Okay, and then use your scissors. It's going to be quite hard because it's quite thick. Cut all the way around the outside, and then you'll have loads of petals. I'm getting quite used to doing these videos now. It's going to be weird to do it any other way now. Although I have heard when I was in last Wednesday, some of the students were telling me how epic Mr. Voice's videos are. So I'm in competition. Maybe I won't be as good as Mr. Voice. So look how many I've got, because I've cut so many. Yeah, so keep cutting, cut out the other one that you've done, and then you'll get loads of petals. Once you've got your petals, use your glue stick and start. You'll have to start from the bottom or the top, either way actually. When I did mine for my costume, I started at the bottom and then I kept slotting them in behind. But I suppose if you started from the top, you could then just layer over. So I'll show you both ways anyway. So put some glue on the end of it. And then start in the middle. So that's if I start from the top, I'm just gluing it down. But I've got, can you see how I've kept a little bit where it's not quite glued down? Because you want to show movement. If I wanted to start from the bottom, then I would just glue from the bottom like that again. So weird because this is, because you can see the reflection, but I've left it a bit flappy there. Make sure you do that, otherwise you won't be able to glue it down. It is so much easier with a glue gun, but we have to be adaptable, don't we? Like I say, gonna make it work. We're gonna make it work. Yeah, all the way around. And it's just a case of going around and around and around and around over and over again using this. So once I've got the first layer, so you're going to go all the way around the top with that same pattern, layering them up. You will be bored senseless if this video showed you that constantly, so I'm not going to keep going. Can you see? And then I'm going to do my second layer, so it's just a bit lower down. So I've got the top ones, and then I'm going to do the next row. And basically I'm going to keep going like that until the entire bauble is complete and it's all covered in petals. Can you see? You might want to go a bit small. I've gone quite big with those petals actually. I actually do prefer them a bit smaller than that. So note to self when you're doing yours, make your original petals a little bit smaller. Can you see? And as I build on, so I'll do my next layer, but I'd have done it all the way around so everywhere's covered. At the end, what you might find is at the top you might have a gap. If you do have a gap at the top, then you can just slot another one in there so that it comes underneath, so that it masks off like that. What I'll do is I'll take a photograph of this complete and I'll do it after the video, so you're not having to watch me finish the whole thing, and I'll put a picture of the complete one on the PowerPoint as well, so you can see it. But can you see what I'm trying to do? Layer up these petals all the way around, and it'll make a complete piece. Have a look as well at the picture of Julie Dodd's work, and you'll get an idea of what I'm trying to create. But it's almost quite scaly, isn't it? All those layers. Yeah, I think I've shown that well. If you don't get it, please email me, because I'm obviously trying to demonstrate something that does take quite a long time quicker. If you've got a few of these, 3 or 4 of this would be really good. So if you've got 4 baubles, doing 4 of these would be good. The reason why these are good for your costume are because everything else that we've made is quite small, and you are going to need some quite big things to create impact and to create height as well within your costume. It's that the textures, as well as the heights, as well as the groups and clusters, that all of those things together will make a good piece. So they are really useful because they take up quite a lot of room as well. So that's one of them. Then the next one I'll show you. Let's go hard. I really like this one, and again, it's a different sort of technique than what we've done before. It doesn't actually require any glue, but it's fun, but it can be quite frustrating. So this one's called Millipora. And how you start this, now I've done it before where I've just cut it roughly, but what you can do is draw it out if you want to. So you start by, it seems random, but you start by drawing a tree kind of thing. I'll show you it in a minute. If you ever drew a tree like this in my lesson, you know what I'd say. But for this, I want you to do it like this, and I'll explain why. It more looks like a road, I think. Road with other roads coming off it. That's kind of the shape you want to do. So it doesn't matter. So as long as you've got this kind of trunk at the bottom, and then it goes off in whatever direction. So I could do it again another time and it go off like this. It doesn't matter as long as you've got a rough shape. So both of those would technically be the right start. It doesn't matter what it looks like. So when you're making them, you can make a range of different shapes to start with, and that will change what the final one looks like. Then I'm going to cut it out, that shape. It'll all make sense, I promise. You're probably thinking, she's gone nuts, finally. Okay. And for this one, because of the way it's made, you end up screwing it up as you go along, so you don't actually have to do the screwing up job before it. You just have to do it as we go along. God knows how I came up with this being the way of doing it, but it's funny how your mind works sometimes, isn't it? It happened. Okay, so now I've cut it out. I've got my random shape. Then it's a little bit like what you would do with wire, when you manipulate wire to create the shape you want. We want to create those shapes that you can see on the PowerPoint. So have that in front of you so you can see. And they're kind of like little branches coming off, aren't they? So we're starting with these big branches, but what we're going to do is we're going to twist them to make them into the kind of branches you see. So this is kind of the stalk. So I'm going to grab it. And again, like I say with wire, you've got to be in control of the media. So pulling tight and twisting as you go along. I have no idea what this is going to turn out like, so I'm just having a go. And then going on to the bit that pulls out and twisting that one around. And it's about twisting and pulling really tightly. And you might find that it breaks partway through, but you'll have to embrace it and pull it off if that happens. And if that does happen, then that part will just be cut short and it's fine. So that's quite long. I'm going to cut that down and stop it there. I'm going to keep twisting. And then I've got another bit. So I've twisted the bottom there, and I've twisted this bit, and I'm going to let that spike up a little bit. Then I'm going to find another branch that comes off, which is here, and I'm going to start twisting that bit so that spikes off. It actually hurts your fingers after a while, this one, so maybe take a break between them. Again, you're probably going to need quite a few of these, very similar to the marine sponges that you made on, I think it was when we made those, wasn't it? The ones you wrap around your pencil. And then I'm going to go back to, can you see how I've made those two? Then I'm back to the middle now, and I'm going to twist that round. Then I'm going to find another branch and twist those. These are not supposed to be that neat, they just need to be tight, because as they kind of grow and live together, they all kind of, all the spikes that come off them all kind of live together and grow together. Okay, and then back to the middle bit, twist that bit. Even once it's finished, I can manipulate it even further. I'm going to twist that bit, move on to another one of the branches. The nice thing is, whatever shape you start with changes what the final one looks like, and it can be, you're like, oh, how did that create that? And you want each one to be quite different from each other. And you can change the size of them, so you could even start with a smaller shape to make smaller ones. I was saying to Ruben on email the other day that these remind me of the trees that we made out the wire for our book. Okay, so I'm going to cut that one down as well, so I've got a smaller one. And then you can do some further manipulation once you finish by just tweaking it slightly. But this is the sort of thing you want to have created. You can have them smaller, depending on what shape you start with. So it's gone from something like that, and that original shape that I've started with could be a lot smaller if I wanted to, and it ends up like that. And actually they're really sturdy. It's really weird how you can manipulate paper to make it sturdy. That's got no wiring or anything, and it's actually very sturdy. So yeah, that could be a lot smaller. It could even just end up being that part of it. You could even cut it down if you wanted to and have kind of two parts to it. So a range of those. Again, just keep going with them. I would again say probably about between 30 and 40 of them, so that you've got loads to put onto your costume. So that's the next one. I'm going to try and do this one a bit quicker so my video's not too lengthy. I think I'm going to win a prize for the teacher with the longest videos, but to be fair, it is quite hard being an art teacher and doing these videos. Right, so for the last one, you're going to fold it in half. This one's called the leathery. Fold it in half, your piece of paper, and cut along the middle. You'll see which one I'm talking about when you have a look on the video. So you just got a strip like that, scrunch it up. So we've got that texture. And then fold it in half and in half again. I think I've just cut myself. Oh dear. And in half again. So you have got that, yeah, into 4, and I'm going to do it again. So then you'll have 8. Back, forward, like that fan sort of effect that we've done before. Then you're going to draw on one of the sides, it doesn't matter which, whether it's that one or that one. You're going to draw a shape that looks like this or similar to this. Okay, so you leave a length at the bottom, and then it's got these wiggly lines going up to a point and wiggly lines back down. It doesn't matter exactly how that looks. It would actually be better, well, I would have done better if I'd made this a bit more equal to that side, but I'm trying to rush a little bit so this video is not too long. So cut along that edge and that edge with the shape that you've done with the wiggly line, up, down, up, down. I'll show you what it looks like once I've cut it. So it should look like that eventually with that ruffled edge at the top. And again, because we left that border, it opens out like this. Then before you open it out, you're going to cut down the lines that you've made to make the top of it. With that movement that I was talking about last week in the video, I want that movement in it. So I'm going to cut down probably about a centimetre and a half on each one. And then what I can do is I can scrumple that up even more again. And then what I did with mine, because I found that this bit was a bit too long, chop that down a bit. And keep scrumping. Yeah, and then they will sit nicely on your costume as well and show that movement. And I've done it also before where I've wrapped it up, which don't do this yet. We can always change it up when we're in school, depending on what kind of thing you want to go for your costume. But I've rolled it and made it more into something like that rather than the first one that I showed you. Yeah, so there's three options there, well, three definites that I want you to make. Again, about 30 or 40 of those would be great. And then we've got loads to go at, and also you can put them in your sketchbook as samples. That one, which I'll put a picture of the finished one on, and the one that we just made where we twisted. And then finally, again, like I said, number 4 is you trying to interpret your own coral using Julie Dodd's work for inspiration. If anybody's got any questions, or you want to say, I want to make this one, but how do you think I should make it? Email me and I can work it out with you so we can do it together. But I would like you to attempt it and do it again. There's one that kind of spirals around that I've seen on there that I've put on the PowerPoint that you could attempt. Anybody needs me, you know where I am. Email me. I can do what I can from home to help. So well done everybody that I've heard from. If I haven't heard from you, seen any work from any of lockdown so far, I really, really would appreciate just having an email to see where you're up to. Have a good week. See you later.